Hey everybody, this is Giancarlo Aulino reporting for the FiredUp Network with a special edition here of the Soccer Show. As you see, my guest here, I'm happy to be joined by him today. He is a midfielder for York United FC. He's Max Ferrari. How you doing, Max?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing great. And looking at this season, unfortunately, it didn't go the way you guys wanted, but there was a lot of growth for players, especially like yourself, who come in. And what would you say was the biggest takeaway for you? Because you came in during the Island Games last year. Now you got a full season under your belt. So what would you say the big takeaway was?
Yeah, I think as a group collectively and for me individually, like going into the season, it was hard going into it. Obviously, we didn't have a preseason, and going into the bubble in Winnipeg as a new group, the youngest group in the league, we didn't really know what to expect, but we did well. Obviously, we proved a lot of people wrong, and I think that was our motivation all year, is just prove these guys wrong. Because going into the season, everyone had us coming last place, and they didn't think us kids could compete. And obviously, making the playoffs was a huge thing. First time for the club in the 3-year history. So yeah, obviously it didn't go the way we wanted it to 2 weeks ago in Hamilton, but there's a lot to take away. And yeah, I say it was a positive season out of everything. It showed that we have a lot of talent here. And yeah, just to build off of that.
Yeah, and also, like you mentioned there, how some of the people, maybe some analysts, didn't have you going to the playoffs. So how satisfying was that, just to rub it in their face? Like, you know what, we're a playoff team, and put some more respect on your names there.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, we won a championship. Obviously, we didn't get that, but to get to the playoffs was huge for us, and to show everyone that we're here to play it feels great.
And the way it started, like you were in that bubble, and you started to see more playing time coming off the bench there, and then you got a starting role. So what would you say went into that? Like, what were some of the things you worked on to try and make yourself a talent that can come in, play right back, play in the midfield role, play in an attacking role?
Yeah, for me, it was kind of just a matter of time. Obviously, last year in the Island Games, in those 7 games, I came off the bench in all of them. And then this year, I got my chance actually in the first game there was an injury, and I came in. And then, yeah, I started ever since. But my plan with Jimmy was just ease me into it. Obviously, I wasn't very experienced going into the season, and to just get my time. I knew I was going to get my reps, and the time came faster than I thought, and I thought I took advantage of it. And yeah, I mean, as a young kid coming in, as off the bench or even as a starter, you need help from your older guys, and that was the best thing for me. Jordan Wilson, Dom Zator, Nate Ingham, all those guys, they helped me a lot. And starting against Calgary that first game, they just told me, yeah, just be yourself, because you know you're a talented kid, and obviously your first start is nerve-wracking, but you'll be fine. And then yeah, throughout the season, I just felt like, yeah, obviously you said I bounced around in positions, and for me, it's like, I don't really care. I'll go wherever Jimmy wants me to play. And yeah, whether it's right back, left back, midfield, winger, I thought I will bring as much as I can to the table. And yeah.
And like you mentioned, there's some of the veteran players that maybe took you under their wing there. How important is that for you? You're a young player coming in. This is a professional environment, and to have veterans really take the time out of their schedule and out of their development to really coach you up and make sure that you're going on the right track. How rewarding was that for you?
Right. I mean, it's huge. It helps the whole team. It brings us together and as a locker room. And for me, yeah, all the guys. Mike Petrassa was huge for me. He was obviously my roommate through the bubble, and for me, he was with me by my side, helping me out. And obviously, with the pedigree he has, being around top leagues since he was 18 years old, it's really cool getting to know his inside info, what I need to do. And yeah, he was with me by my side throughout the whole season. And yeah, I mean, these older guys on our team, they were just great leaders and great guys altogether, on and off the field. They were there for us young guys whenever we needed.
With Max Ferrari here on the Soccer Show, I'm Giancarlo Aulino here on FiredUp Network. And Max, your season really paid off, because the CPL, you're one of the finalists there for that U21 award. So, looking back at it, how this season started, and you look at this award, like, what does it feel like not to be only recognized by your own team, but, other coaches and analysts and everyone around the league are taking note of your development so far?
I mean, yeah, obviously it's really nice to be nominated for this. Going into the season, it wasn't really a thought of mine to even go for this award. I just wanted to go in, play my game, and if the individual awards come, then they come. But yeah, I'm very grateful for it. Obviously, I like to thank my coaches and players, because without them, I don't think I would get nominated for this. So, I mean, yeah, I'm just really happy to get nominated. And
also, the unfortunate part of this business and the professional level, when the team doesn't go so far, the coach unfortunately gets parts ways with the club. So Jimmy and yourself, you go way back with him. Just what was it like being around a Canadian legend like Jimmy Brennan as your first taste of the professional level?
I mean, yeah, me and Jimmy, I've known him since I was 7 years old. Actually, I went to his camp. So he was the first ever person to tell me that I was going to be a pro footballer. So it's kind of like a sentimental thing for me and him. And obviously he gave us young kids a chance. He brought me in going into the Island Games. Him and the club brought me in, and they gave me a chance. Even this year, they went with us. They knew that we could give them what they wanted. And yeah, he trusted us. He gave me my chance, and I'm thankful for it. And I wish him all the best.
And Jimmy, so you were at his club or his camp there. Was he still with TFC when he did
Yes,
that camp?
he was. Wow. He was playing for TFC. Well, it was during the summer, so he was in and out at the camp, but he was still playing. Yeah.
And what was that like? Like a TFC player, like at the time, where was everyone at the camp there? Like, did they follow TFC? Because I'm sure it was still like early on in their existence there. What was that like?
I mean, as kids, it doesn't matter where you are, when you hear that you're with a pro soccer player, and then you see him, and he even brought some of his teammates to this camp. So it was like a really big thing. It was cool. Yeah. And for me, he was like one of my idols growing up, because that was one of my first pros. I think it was the first pro I met. So when you meet a pro and you see that he's on TV and he's playing the game for his job, you look up to him. So, yeah.
And from there, where you did you start off like house league? Where was your regional play? Like, where did that all start out for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in Newmarket, Ontario. Played for Aurora Soccer Club for most of my youth. Yeah, and then I went to the League One level for 3 years. I started there when I was 16. But yeah, very local. Played for Richmond Hill when I was younger. Played for A&B Academy for a couple of years, and then played with Aurora since I was around 15, 16 years old. So.
Yeah, and it's important for players now, like in that level, to listen to this, because you are a good example of someone from York Region that could be a pro. And like, who are some of the coaches there when you were at that level in Aurora Soccer Club and coming up that gave you the good advice, kept you on the right track, make sure you had great habits?
Right. So, yeah, I've had a lot of coaches in the day. For me, my coaches always knew I had it in me. I wasn't always like the peak player. I was very small, not fast. But I was always told, keep going, keep proving people wrong. Couple coaches. My dad coached me throughout my youth. And then actually when I was at Aurora, Jimmy was the coach of the League One level, but I was playing for the youth teams under my dad and Brian. But yeah, always these coaches, I just want to thank them. They've always pushed me because they know my limits, and yeah.
And also, like you just mentioned there, your dad was your coach, and I spoke to Michael Petrasso a while ago, and his parents also coached him. So what's that like when your parent is your coach? Does it make things a little weird when you're on the field? Like, how was that like for you?
I mean, my dad growing up and now, he's still my mentor, and everything about football, about soccer, it goes through him. Like, he's the reason I into this game, and him coaching me since I was 3 years old till I was 15, 16. Yeah, you just get used to it. Obviously, he's a bit harder on you than he is with the other guys. So yeah, especially my dad being the character he is. But you get used to it. I mean, I wouldn't take it. I like it. I would recommend, if you could have your dad as a coach, I recommend it. It helped me a lot. So.
Yeah, so it wasn't like one of those experiences where maybe you're like, you know what, Dad, I'm good today. And maybe another player can get that whole pep talk, but that's good that your experiences.
I'm sure we went at it a few times, but in the end, I mean,
That's good. And also here now, like you went up to League One, and that league has produced some of the best talents now in the CPL, playing a big role. So at League One, how important is that? Because right now you have CPL, you have League One in Canada. So what was that whole experience like for you at League One?
I mean, it was great. I made my debut in League One at 16. So yeah, it's a really good league. When I was in it, it's so competitive. The quality's there. It's just kind of one of those things where it's a lot of exposure for obviously the CPL. And for me, I played League One, and then I decided to do this step to Humber College for a year. So I did both of those. And for me, both of those, I learned a lot in both those, because League One, you have a lot of experienced guys that maybe even played pro at some point. And even in the college, they played pro. So they can give you advice. And I was just learning as a 16-year-old kid. I was just taking everything in. It's a great experience.
And Humber College, did you get recruited to go there, or did you go to some of their camps to try out and walk onto the team?
So actually the coach at Humber College, Michael Aquino, was my coach at Aurora for the 2018 season. So I just did the transition there. We agreed that it would be a good opportunity for me to do some school, and to obviously we wanted to win a national championship. And so I went to Humber, and it was really good, a really good experience. And the school is good, and then the soccer, it's really good. For college soccer, it doesn't get better than Humber College. We know, I think it's 7 national championships in 9 years. You're going to get quality there. You're going to get good players. You're going to learn a lot from good coaches.
And like at Humber College, like being a student athlete, that can also be hectic at times. You know, you're studying, and then you got to also worry about maybe getting up for practice and then the games and stuff. So what was that like for you? Like, how did you maintain that whole extra toll and that workload?
Oh, it was tough. It was really tough. Days were long. Days probably started 7, 8 a.m. and you're not done till 5 or 6. So, and that was like that every day for about 3 months until the season's done. It's something you adapt to, but as an athlete, as a player for Humber, you need to do it. You need to do it to get it done. Because in the season, once you're done that season in November, then you're done until August with them. So it's short, but it's a lot of fun and it's a lot of work. So you just take it in.
And now that you're going to be in an off season now, like your first full season, when you look back at it, like what was it like having your family there? Because you're a York Region kid coming in, and like now your family gets to come down and see you as a pro. So what was that like for you?
I mean, I've answered this a lot. It doesn't get better. It doesn't get better playing in front of your friends and family at where you grew up playing. Stadium's not too far from my house. And I'm a York Region kid, and you just want to see York Region soccer do better. You want to see Canada soccer as a whole, but I'm playing in front of my region. And seeing even the young kids from clubs coming to watch, it's just good to see, because I was at that stage. And also for me, it's good to see because the first year of York 9 in the CPL, I was in that stands. I was in that crowd supporting York. So it's just good to see us growing and growing, and it's getting better and better as time goes on.
And also, like, do you get taken aback? Like, you see some of these young kids in the clubs now, they're asking you for autographs and pictures. Like, you were once that kid going up to Jimmy Brennan maybe and asking that. So now that the tables are turned a little bit, how does that make you feel? I
mean, it's what you dream of. I mean, it sounds a bit corny or whatever, but it is what you dream of. As a kid, I always wanted to be a professional footballer. For the CPL to give us kids a chance, us Canadian kids a chance, and we're grateful, and we take it. We're very grateful for it. We take it day by day, and just seeing those kids, how happy they are when they see us, and it's like the same thing for me when I see other pros. I mean, it's that smile on your face because you just love football. So it's special. It's special to you.
And also, like, everybody wants more COVID restrictions, obviously allow it, want to see a full stadium. So what would your message be to those in York Region about York United FC to come down to the game? Like, what would your message be to somebody who might not be familiar with it and want to look to watch some soccer?
Well, for me, I would say come support your local guys. Come support your local kids, because that could be you one day, and obviously you want the support. And I also want to give it a shout out because we have a lot of guys, Center of Universe, Northern Corridor. They're really good. Those our fans. They were there a lot. They did the trip to Ottawa. So yeah, it's growing. It's slowly growing in York Region football. And yeah, I just say, come support your local guys. It's a good time. We'll try to give you a show.
And we saw everyone do that. Like that support was on display there. That TFC game in the rain, everybody's still going down to BMO Field. Yeah. So what did you take away from that experience? Because like TFC for the longest time has set that standard of winning in Canada, and to be a new team in a new league, to come in early on and play Canada's Giants, let's say, like what was that whole experience like for you?
I mean, yeah, going into it, I would probably call myself a TFC fan. I said that a lot. I was probably a Toronto FC supporter growing up, and going to BMO Field and playing them and getting the chance to play against the top players. Like you're playing against guys like Salcedo and Michael Bradley, Josie Altidore. You're going against guys that I've watched since I was like 14 years old. So, I mean, it's exciting. Obviously it didn't go the way we wanted to. But yeah, it was just a great experience because we got to train on the pitch the day before. You get to see all the locker room. I mean, it's great. And then knowing that you're somewhat near that level. Like we obviously we lost, but it just shows that we played against these guys, and it's good to see that. The game's growing. Obviously, CPL it's been 3 years, but they're playing MLS teams and they're competing against MLS teams. So yeah, it's really good to see that we're able to compete against these top players. Cool.
Yeah, and also, like, does it get not intimidating, but like, does it set in? Like, you know what, this is real now that you are at that level? Because you just said there, you see Soteldo across the field, you see Michael Bradley, you see Josie Altidore. So does that fire you up a little bit more when you saw those players standing across the pitch and that they took it seriously?
For me, it hit me when I saw the lineups and saw how good all those players were playing. And then when you go out for warm-ups, that's when, for me, the nerves hit. And I'm sure a lot of the young guys would say, walking out BMO Field and all those guys behind the net are yelling at you. That's when it kind of hit you, because we haven't been into that kind of atmosphere before, where that stadium's so big and these guys are yelling at you. And it's such a big occasion. I mean, Canadian Championship, it doesn't get bigger for us in that league. It's the CPL and that. So those two are our biggest things. And when you have the chance to knock out the big dogs, nerves will hit. Obviously, the nerves hit us. They went away, actually, though. For me, 10 minutes in, I was like, okay, like, just play this game. And yeah, but it's cool playing against all these top guys.
And did you get to talk to any, like Osorio or like any of the Canadians there?
Briefly, not much, but yeah, I've seen them around before. They're very nice guys. Obviously, very good pros and very talented footballers. So yeah.
Because Osorio, I remember somebody asked him, we were in the pregame scrum, and he was saying, you know what, if he was to support a CPL team, it'd be York United. So like, how does that make you feel? You know what, some pros in the MLS level are even taking note of York United, and they want to support their local team too.
Right. No, I mean, it's cool that I think the CPL, it's getting a lot more around than people think. Like you've seen this the week, the national team members are doing their videos saying good luck to Forge and Pacific and the thing. And it's just really nice to see that the league's growing and these guys are, so obviously him being a York fan, it's cool. And then, yeah, for them to be following up on the games, and it just shows that Canada soccer is growing when all these big guys and big teams are looking at our games.
And now that you're in this off season, like, how is it for you? Do you want to like unwind a bit, like get your head away from the game, or is it as soon as the season was over, you're already working on the next season? For me, a lot of my teammates know I'm kind of like a football fanatic, so I don't think I can get like away from it. But I think it was start of July to now we had about 32 games. So, and obviously you're training every day, so it was a lot for me, especially it's my first season. I've never played that many games. Most games I've played in the season, probably 15, 20 with League One. So it's a big difference, and especially at this level with these players around you. Yeah, for me, I just taking my time off now, just mentally relaxing, physically relaxing, and then getting ready for next year. Like all of us, we're excited. At York, we're excited for next year. We're excited for when the season starts, and we'll be ready. Yeah. And, this season now that it's over, you just said you're a football fanatic. So who are some of the other teams that you watch now that this season's over?
well, I'm a massive Chelsea fan, so I'll be watching all their games. I usually watch most of the Premier League games, and yeah, obviously still watching the MLS playoffs, and now, just watching everything. I'm a big into other sports too. I huge into hockey, I watch football, basketball. So yeah, for me, it's just all sports and just watching that stuff.
How did the Chelsea love get to you? What was it, a player, or was it maybe one of their teams that went on that Champions League run?
Yeah, so I want to say Drogba was a big inspiration for me, even though it's weird. I'm not really a striker, but with him, I'm also German. So Michael Ballack had to come in to play with me, and I'm a huge Frank Lampard guy. Just so that kind of thing. I was just a Chelsea fan right away. That was just like the first team that came to me. I guess maybe the blue. But yeah, I've been a Chelsea fan since I was little. So yeah.
That's great, because it's interesting to hear like some other players, like even though you're playing at the pro level for one team, but it all starts somewhere. So Drogba was that guy for you. So that's interesting to see there. And in hockey, is your team the Leafs?
Yeah, I have to be a Leafs fan. I'm born in Toronto, raised in Newmarket. So yeah, I'm a big Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
And is which player, I guess, like when you started watching, who was the top player on the team?
Max Sundin was the guy that got me into hockey. So, obviously I still have his jersey. I still have his little hockey action figures in my room. Like he was the guy for Toronto. So me, being born in 2000, he was that guy growing up. So, yeah.
That's cool. Matt Sundin, legend there. And are you optimistic for this Leafs season? Austin Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares?
I mean, I always say I think we can win the cup, but yeah, I think we have probably the best forwards in the NHL. So yeah, I obviously think I get heartbroken every year. Obviously last year losing to Montreal, but I'm optimistic. I think we can win.
So are you, when you go into this season, I know I have this talk with a lot of my friends and a lot of people in broadcasting too. Like when you're a Leaf fan, is it something where if it's not the second round, you don't want to get your hopes up too much, or right when that season starts, are you invested like, okay, I know my heart's going to get broken here, so I'm just going to take it one day at a time here, one game at a time?
For me, I know my heart's going to get broken at some point, but I still treat the same season the same way every year. I think we have a chance. And I always get flashbacks to Boston in Game 7, obviously, and all that stuff. So, for me, it's just being a Leafs fan, being a diehard. And that's the same thing for every sport. I think everyone treats it like that. Like, you're going to start the same way every season. I mean, some people are differently, but it's just the sport. We love the sport and we'll follow it no matter what at this point.
Love that answer there. With Max Ferrari here on the Soccer Show on the FiredUp Network. A couple final questions here. Max, I saw a video. This was during the Euro Cup. A lot of you guys, I saw Dr. Antonio Petrolo there. Shout out to him. Going nuts when Italy won the Euro. We saw the reaction on his CPL Twitter. Were you in that room when that all happened?
I was actually. Me being Italian, I was right there with all of it. It was all us Italians in the room watching. It's something you'll remember too, being in the bubble, watching the Euro Cup as an Italian winning. Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. And then you can hear other teams, all the Italians on the other teams too, in the other floors freaking out. It was cool. It was fun.
And do you think that unfortunately, they're matched up again in a playoff qualifier, so they could have a chance here, 2 World Cups in a row? Do you think they'll make it to the World Cup this time around?
I mean, like my answer with the Leafs, I'm always going to back my guys. So yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's great. And before we wrap up here, how can our listeners and viewers here follow you on social media?
I'm Max Ferrari 16 on Instagram and Max the God 20 on Twitter.
That's great. Well, Max, I'd like to thank you for sharing your time and coming on here on the FiredUp Network Soccer Show, and wish you all the best next season. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.